He's staying at the Majestics. He reported it.
This is, of course, only half of the equation, the half which occurs after you put
We don't see him very often, but
to deal with the other half,
Yes, we
we'll
like
be back
that.
to you in the next
He
episode.
stayed before.
I'm Nicholas Moore, the Chieftain. See you next time.
how is he nowadays?
Oh, he's wonderful. Really quite wonderful, considering. Always cheerful, ready with a joke.
You found me with him.
Yes, they're all there. Well, the ones...
Oh, yes, of course. Very nice, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're very nice.
Use of cover.
They
The
are.
first thing to cover will be
Really?
hold-down positions and berm drills. American vehicles with their larger high turret allow greater
What do you
gun
mean by
depression,
that?
so they're
They are
particularly
rare.
good at this.
Don't you think
Generally
there's something-
speaking, though, the higher the gun
It was quite
depression angle,
unmistakable.
the
Her
faster
manner
it
changed
will
at once
protect
when the
and
Jeffersons
engage
were
targets
mentioned.
over the top of a
And
hill.
another thing, when she said she was
The
angered by the
brown drill
girl's
is what we
disappearance,
use
she
to
really looked
engage
it.
targets with a minimum
And one
of
has to ask
exposure.
oneself
The general
why.
gist of it is you drive forwards, expose yourself,
I think a
fire
few days at
around,
the
and
seaside
then retreat
might
back
do
into
us
cover
both
while you
a work of
reload.
good.
That's the basic idea, but after a couple of goes of this, the opposition is probably going to figure out what you're doing. So the next thing you want to do is see if you can do a berm drill.
Saddest story imaginable. Poor Jeff, such a lovely family, blown to bits by one of those V2
harder
things.
target to track.
Lost the lot
So
of
if you
them,
spin
and his legs.
when it covers, going front left, front right.
I can't tell you how wonderful he's been.
Point of view, he's not
Such
exactly
courage, he never complains.
And hopefully by the time
Adelaide,
you
his
see
daughter-in-law,
the
lives with
target
him.
and his aiming
It's her son
circle,
Peter from her
you'll
first
already
marriage.
have you shot off.
And most of the time, his son-in-law Mark
And
is
the other
there
thing, of
too.
course, is that artillery loves predictable
I suppose when you've suffered so much together that the ties that bind are hard to break.
Now is that if you're doing the same thing again,
The whole thing
and
was the
again,
most awful
you can expect
tragedy.
a 155
Now there's
millimeter round
another.
coming right down into your engine
Yes, but
deck.
nothing to do with the
This
Jeffersons.
is bad. Again, it's not impossible to spin. Well, make yourself a harder target.
Never mind.
You know, Jane,
The
that
next
is
thing is
curious.
movement between positions. The saying is that the links go as the walk is slow, but not with the right. The idea behind this is to stay in the low ground. So let's say you're done with your berm drills and you want to advance. Unless you're absolutely positively completely sure that there's nobody on the far side of the hill waiting for you to pass, reverse, make a left or a right, go around the hill, stay in low ground, and you'll move forward that way in more relative safety. It'll provide you cover as well as population. The last thing I'm going to talk about is DIP, die in place. The die in place position is one where you think you've got an awesome fighting position, and you very well may have one.
nice.
The
Yes.
catch is that when it's time to leave, and eventually there will be a time to leave, you cannot do so without completely exposing yourself to God, country, artillery, anti-tank guns, and everything else.
But don't
So
you
just
think
be
it's
careful
rather
when you're deciding
extravagant?
upon your fighting
You sound just
position.
like
Have a think
Arthur,
about it.
always banging on about
That's
taking
it.
our belts.
I'm Nicholas
We
Moore,
deserve
the
a
Chieftain.
little bit of
See you next time.
pampering, surely.
You get
After
on
all,
my
life's
way,
been
you
so
daft.
utterly gloomy. Oh, this!
You don't think I mean it? You think I'm just talking?
Surviving world tanks, and it is use of cover.
Nice to see you keeping your hand in it, sir.
What do you mean?
Taking the case on personally. Still, I suppose with Colonel Bantry being an old mate and all.
I suggest, Harper, you keep your suppositions to yourself.
Get up.
Josie's been very good finding time for my son Peter after all that's happened.
It's all too ghastly.
Isn't it? And Jeff, my father-in-law, he's taken it very badly. He was so fond of Ruby.
He'd rather he didn't.
Oh, and I'm sure he'd love to see you.
Keep him calm, won't you? His heart's not too good.
Covered in the last video. Now, looking at the
It's a
manual
wonder the
right
shot
here,
didn't do for him.
This is
It's
from manual
It's incredible the way he's
17-15, and
rallied.
it shows the three
Shall we?
positions which are doctrinally available to a tank. The first is the hide position, and this is exactly what it says. You are hiding, cowering in fear behind cover that
You know
completely
her well,
blocks you from
Mrs.
sight,
Jefferson?
and
It's
also
difficult to
blocks you
say.
from seeing anything.
She certainly spent a
Use
good deal
this
of
if
time
you're
with us.
waiting in ambush for
Jeff's
just
always
the
enjoyed the
perfect
company of
moment
young
to
people,
strike,
but
or
Ruby was a
if you just
little
don't want to get shot at.
different from the usual type,
The
and she
next
seemed
step is
pleasant.
the turret down
Did you see her
position.
last night?
In this,
Oh, yes.
you move forward enough
She joined us
that
as
there is a
usual after
point
dinner.
Pull over something.
Jeff, I'm just going to write some letters. I slipped away to write some letters before the bridge started.
This allows you to see everything whilst
Then
providing
later,
an
Ruby started her first dance with Raymond Starr, and we began our
Yes,
bridge.
you can get
Josie
shot,
making a
but
fourth.
it is very
We were all
different.
there at the table until midnight. Mark, Josie, Jeff, and I.
Thirdly, the hold down position. This is the position in which you decide to go in this, your gun has clearly been by your full still protected.
One no trouble.
I changed my mind.
The last I saw of her was when she went off to dance with some young man or other. Then around midnight, Raymond came over to us, very angry, wanting to know where Ruby was. She was due to do her second dance with him, you see, and Josie tried to make light of it. They went up to Ruby's room, but as there was still no sign of her, Josie ended up having to dance. Rather plucky of her, considering the sprained ankle. Jeff was in a terrible state when there was no sign of her this morning and insisted on calling the police.
Fine old American.
I hope you don't mind my asking, Mrs. Jefferson, but have you any idea who could have done such a thing?
See you next time.
None whatsoever.
It's a hold-up!
Ruby never said anything, did she, about Jefferson? Some man she was afraid of.
I do much better on tests if I've had
Mr. Jefferson,
something your mom's drunk.
America's Dumbest Criminals. Weekdays at 10 a.m., 9 Central on
Ruby
Charge.
was a little on the cheap side.
This month on Charge,
but a nice
Liam
manner,
Neeson stars as a rebel Highlander who likes to get physical.
This isn't a kennel, Superintendent.
He works his arms, crushes his shoulder
from one or
day,
two of the boys, but nothing under strangling, I'm sure.
and gets his laps
Older
in.
gents, there's something of the child about it.
Because even he hates cardio.
We'll hold a gathering.
Yes.
Drink to our success!
Rob Roll,
Mr. Jefferson
this
is very
month
fond of young
on
people.
Charge.
He found her
If action is
Why
your
was it in
cup
the
of tea,
record on this
because he was the only
then
one
you'll
who was
fancy Gladiators.
Real clash of the titans.
Smashing.
He was lucky!
in such a state
Weekdays
and
on
insisted
Charge.
the peace be told at once. Miss Turner was very annoyed. What she say? The Jeffersons, you see, are amongst our best customers. Nothing is ever slated. They'll stay with us.
Such a happy family, weren't we, Dolly?
Yes, you were.
You know, I still reach out to Margaret in the night,
born racer.
and other times I think I hear her voice.
Someone is a gifted sniper. Someone soaks up damage like Chuck Norris. And
Along
someone
with his two great friends,
is just
Mark,
a
my
winner in
son-in-law,
life.
and a chap called Mike Carmody. Mike was Adelaide's
But you
first
don't need to be
husband.
that
The
cool
father
to
of
play
young
tanks
people.
well.
Mike was shot down early on.
It's enough to understand the
And
game
later,
mechanics,
Adelaide married
know how
my
they
son,
work,
Frank.
and use this knowledge in battle.
Well, the year
Talk about the
before the
mechanics,
war ended,
and the rest is up to you.
we're home on leave.
What do they call you up
It
there?
was the autumn of the two
Call me Mr. Tibbs.
You know, celebrating Frank.
Well, Mr. Wood, take Mr.
That
Tibbs,
night,
take him down to the depot and I
a
need boy
rocket
like
hit
now.
close by. Fate plays cruel tricks, don't you think?
The visibility system. A keystone.
Adelaide
The
and Mark
giant
have
turtle
been,
that holds up the
have been
earth.
very good to me.
You may not believe it. You may be
But
surprised. by
recently,
it. You may
I
argue about it.
realized they have their
But
own
whether you
lives.
like it or not, it works.
Problem is,
And smart
I'm
tankers
lazy.
have used its features for their benefit
and
for
having
a
young
long
people
time.
around, well,
Roughly speaking,
It
the
lifts the
visibility system
spirits.
in World of Tanks can be
and that's why
divided into
during this
two
past month I became
separable
friendly with
components.
Ruby.
Concealment
She was a
and view
complete
range.
original, so
Today
charming,
we'll talk about view range.
different from
A little bit
going on
of theory
with
to
me.
begin.
She
Our
never
confidential
complained.
informant will tell you about it.
Every tank in the game has 7 visibility checkpoints and 2 view range ports. The latter are needed to spot enemy vehicles.
I got more
These
and more
ports
fond of
emit
them. In
virtual
the end,
vision
I
rays.
decided to adopt
If these rays cross the visibility checkpoints on the enemy vehicles,
Did Mark
then
Adelaide have
an
to say
enemy
about that?
is spotted.
Well, there wasn't much they
To
could
understand the
say.
location of these points
Sure, they
better,
didn't like it,
imagine
but they
your
behaved well
favorite
enough.
vehicle.
It's not as though they were dependent on me. You see, when my children
now
married,
we'll
I
cover
turned
it with
over
a
a great
box.
deal of money to them. So
Turret location,
Mark and
gun
Adelaide
length,
were
machine
well
guns,
provided
and
for
antennas
when tragedy
don't affect
struck.
the box size.
So do you mean, Mr. Jefferson, that as well as adopting
Only
her,
the
you also
overall size
intended
of the
to make
vehicle's
full
physics
provision?
model is taken
right,
into
yes.
account.
Had you already done so?
So, there's a
Well,
checkpoint
the
right at the center of the
necessary
box
formalities for legal
roof.
adoption hadn't been completed, no, but I had changed my will.
2 more checkpoints are located at the front
about
and at the back of the
10 days
vehicle.
ago.
Another 2 are at the sides.
£50,000
So,
to be
that's
held in
5.
trust for Ruby Keane until
The
she was
6th point
25.
is on the gun mantlet, and it's aligned with the 7th.
But you hardly
As soon as the turret position changes,
my money,
one
and
of
I
these
can do what I
points
like with
moves
it.
together with the mantlet, and the other stays
So
in place.
If she hadn't come along,
Well, then it would have gone to Mark in Adelaide.
The upper checkpoint and the point on the gun mantlet
Nothing
also
is going to
function as
happen to
view
me,
range
Miss
ports.
Marple. I may be a cripple, but
Hey,
I'm
hey,
as
hey.
strong as an ox.
Easy.
If it did,
Theory's
Then
good.
money would revert to
But
them.
how do you use it in the battle?
Little Ruby.
Let's see some specific
Dear
examples.
God.
You're standing behind cover. Allies are
She was
behind you.
found some miles
The enemy
away,
is
you
ahead.
know.
Some are asking you to light them up. Others are waiting for free damage. In a
Really?
situation like this, don't
Please
try
don't.
to spot the enemy this way.
Tell me what.
You're exposing your checkpoint,
But Jeff, my
your
dear, that's why
viewports
we're
are
here.
still behind cover.
The
You've
thing
got
is,
yourself
you see,
spotted,
Ruby Keane was found
but
at
haven't
Gossington.
spotted the enemy. And you've also taken a lot of damage. This is how you should do it. Turn your turret and carefully try to spot the enemy
It's awful to do, isn't it? The sort of thing one reads about.
with your
in
viewport on the gun
Sunday
mantlet.
No, well, did you miss
Your
the
allies
bullet?
fire off.
No, not
You
well at all.
save your
No,
HP.
Hardly at all.
And receive a bonus for spotting.
Last person to see her alive.
Everybody's happy.
Gosh, was I?
And another example.
Sounds awful, doesn't it?
You don't need to rush in and
Absolutely
spot
perfectly
the
right.
enemy
I saw that.
first. It's pretty risky.
What was that?
Sure, you'll see them, but you won't last long.
Time. Wasn't very late.
To be a good scout and keep yourself safe, you can stay on your side of the hill.
Yes,
You
as a
just
matter of
need to
fact.
roll
Yes,
up the
I
hill and
did.
point
I
your
only
turret in the
know
right direction.
After she danced with the
The view range port in the
Latin
gun
chaplain,
base will give you
must have
all
been
the information,
for 10.
and you almost don't risk anything. Let's move forward. Two scouts are hiding in the bushes. The first is spotting, and the other is being spotted. But not for long. That's because it didn't hide its checkpoint. The first tank exposes its gun, machine gun, antenna, and even the corners of the hub itself. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that all checkpoints are covered. It provides good spotting and is still intact. See? That's what knowing the game mechanics can do.
By the way, about the mechanics, vision rays are not endless. The maximum view or spotting range is 445 meters, and the maximum draw distance is 565 meters. You need to understand the difference between these terms. View range is the maximum distance at which you can spot the enemy, and the draw distance is the maximum distance at which you can see the vehicles in general.
Round and round.
Both Allied vehicles and enemy vehicles spotted by your team.
As I said,
Depending on the distance between vehicles, the vision rays have different frequencies.
And
The highest frequency is at a distance of 120 meters. The greater the distance between vehicles is, the lower the frequency of rays will be.
And now, let's get some practice in. There are 3 circles on your mini-map. The big circle shows the draw area. The middle circle shows the maximum view range area. And the small circle shows the current view range of your vehicle. These are not just circles. These are important game tools. And you need to use them. Every time you shoot at the enemy within the maximum view range circle, you risk being spotted, with all enraging consequences.
fix the time of your return to the ballroom.
To shoot with impunity, roll back out of the maximum view range circle. The enemy won't be able to spot you even theoretically. But you can do some damage and save your HP.
Lot to think about, eh?
But that's not all.
Yes.
If the enemy vehicle is so far away that you can only see it on the mini-map, it doesn't mean you're out of play.
Yes.
You
I'm
can
Peter Kennedy,
guesstimate the direction of
grandfather.
fire on the
Well,
mini-map.
I call him that. but
To
he
do
isn't
so,
really.
use the
So he's
pointer.
ready to see you.
When the sector's defined, you